Deirdre Kent, and I'm the co-founder and co-leader of the New Economics Party of New Zealand. We've been working for 3 years to try and get a new economic system which is going to work for life on the planet and in our country. We have decided we needed to bring together 3 different movements: the monetary reform movement, including reforming the national currency and having a whole range of complementary currencies, the tax reform movement to move towards land and other natural resource taxes and away from income tax and sales tax, and thirdly, the basic income movement, giving unconditional basic income in these days where work may not be available for everybody. So, how do we do this? Well, you can't actually do one thing and then do another, because everything is interconnected. And so we have to think about it as a whole system, hyper-connected globally. And we are saying that you have to look at the 2 things which change a system most, which get the most bang for your buck by tweaking it a little bit. And we're saying we have to change the money system and we have to change the tax system. Those are the 2 paradigms that we have to change. And secondly, we change the goals of an economy. So the goal of an economy is not just to grow, which is impossible on a finite planet. And we all know that. And now we've got climate change because we've been so silly. Okay, so pulling those 2 things, those 3 things together really, we decided that we would end up leaving the current system alone. We've got a very bad tax system. 80% of our taxes are on labour, sales or enterprise. Nonsense. We want to encourage all of those as long as it's the right sort of goods for a post-fossil fuel age. So we want to encourage all those. And yet we tax them, and that's 80% of our tax system. So there's a major change required there. And secondly, the major change in the money system. How on earth do you do that? I mean, we're so dependent on banks, and banks are so powerful. So we're saying, leave the current system alone. It's going to fall over, it's going to decay, it's very unstable. You know, we've got deflation coming, we've got huge debt, we've got goodness knows what will fall over next, when our next global economic crisis is going to be and what's going to trigger it. But we're saying you have to start a second national currency in parallel with the first national currency. But this second currency is designed differently. It's spent into existence at local level to buy land. And then the revenue stream from the land rental, of quite significant, is shared between all the levels of government, and occasionally it is distributed out as a citizen's dividend to every citizen over 1 year old. So this new currency, we're calling it a land dollar, would come into effect, but right at the very start we'd have a raft of resource taxes and land tax laws, a whole lot of laws, a full carbon tax, a full water tax, a full mining tax, etc., and land tax. So it'd be ruled by a different set of tax laws. And it would grow an entirely different way, this new economy, for a post-fossil fuel age. It would be a thriving, dynamic economy. Now, we realise that it's almost a preposterous solution proposal. And yet, in Germany, when they had a crisis of hyperinflation, what did they do in 1923? They set up a new national currency called the Rentenmark, and it was backed by land. Now, it wasn't, I think we've got an improvement on that particular one because we're putting it into existence, spending it into existence without interest. If you allow the banks to create the money as interest-bearing debt, then you're always going to have a growth imperative built in is the mathematical certainty that you've got to keep growing the money supply, you've got to keep growing the economy, and that's going to cause a growth imperative leading to climate change. And we have to stop it. We have to get an economy not dependent on a growth economy, on a growth imperative. And that for the sake of our children. So Germany have successfully stalled their huge crisis in 1923 in about a week. You know, the food riots stopped and the farmers released their food to the citizens. Now, if you'd like to find out more about this, there's a whole lot of it on our site. We've been through a lot of stages, so, you know, we went through a stage of covenants, we went through a lot of stages of calling this new national currency something else, but on our site you'll see plenty to read, and we ask you to join us in thinking and working to get a new sustainable economic system. And we're ourselves going to have a conference at the end of May, the last 2 days of May, first day of June in New Zealand, in Otaki, and we invite you to come. There'll be more information on our website soon. So thank you very much and good luck.